Looky, 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 looky here. Phil Jackson chumping the star player. Let me just warn you now, man. If you're new to the show, we have new listeners every single day. I take great joy in the New York Knicks being a train wreck. So if you're a Knicks fan, prepare yourself. All right, I take great joy in seeing the Knicks be a train wreck and them always in the news for some tomfoolery or whatever. First of all, I'm a Lakers fan. Been a Lakers fan for a long, long time, since like 1983. We talked about that yesterday, like 83. All right, so, you know, I respect teams and organizations that have a good history and deserve a lot of adulation, you know, and respect. But I don't like teams that get a lot of respect and adulation and they ain't done a damn thing in 40 years. Yeah. New York Knicks president Phil Jackson, so this is right up my alley. New York Knicks president Phil Jackson took another public shot at star forward Carmelo Anthony in a tweet on Tuesday when Jackson referenced a column published on Bleacher Report that was critical of Carmelo Anthony. Here's the tweet, and we're going to tie it all together here in a second for a lot of you that don't know the backdrop to this story. But Phil Jackson tweeted out, the Bleachers ding. Okay, so Bleachers, he's referencing the Bleacher Report, this publication. Ding means shot at. All right, we're talking street vernacular. I just want to clarify this for some people that may not understand this lingo. He said Bleachers ding almost rings the bell, meaning they almost get it right in what they were saying in their criticism of Carmelo Anthony. I got to break this down for you piece by piece. But I learned you don't change the spot on a leopard with Michael Graham in my CBA days. Now, let's get into it a little bit more. The column details the Anthony Jackson dynamic and questions Anthony's desire, this is the column in Bleacher Report, to win by concluding that Jackson and the Knicks in part can't want for Anthony what he doesn't want deeply enough for himself. So in a nutshell, what this article in Bleacher Report saying is that as much as Phil Jackson and the organization want Carmelo Anthony to do well and help them win games, that Carmelo Anthony, and this is one of the most critical things you can say about an athlete. Yeah, this is almost like walking up to an athlete, a professional athlete, especially I would guess, and slapping him in the face. They're saying Carmelo's desire to win, to be great, is not there. Jackson references Michael Graham in his tweet, a talented player from Georgetown. I followed Georgetown back in the day. I rooted for Georgetown. I rooted for the Georgetown Hoyas. They had an all-black team, black coach. You know, they were shocking the world. And I remember Michael Graham. If you're my age, you remember Michael Graham. Michael Graham was the intimidating-looking, bald-headed brother. And I think he had, like, once again, this real tough upbringing or whatever. I don't know if I can't remember. This is 35 years ago, 30 years ago. But Michael Graham played on the great Georgetown Hoya teams, kind of like as a backup, I believe, to Patrick Ewing in subsequent years as well. I think he actually was a starter maybe. Very good player, not a player that would have a long career in the NBA, and I don't think he did. Phil was talking about coaching him in the CBA. But you remember Michael Graham. So Jackson references Michael Graham in his tweet, a talented player from Georgetown who Jackson coached in the Continental Basketball Association. Graham and Jackson got into an argument in the middle of a game on New Year's Eve in 1986, according to a profile of Graham in the Washingtonian. Days after the incident, Jackson's team, the Albany Patriots, released Graham. Jackson referenced Graham in his memoir, according to the Washingtonian, noting that he had difficulty reaching him. Here's a quote. "Nothing I said made a difference," Jackson wrote. "Whenever I tried to talk to him, his eyes would glaze over me and he'd retreat to some dark inner corner nobody could penetrate." And Phil Jackson, the GM, the man paid all of this money his gobs and gobs of money to come in here and, resuscitate the New York Knicks. Paid Carmelo all of this money when he really didn't want to. Brought in Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose, and they've all failed. Is taking a personal shot at the star player. I, for one, absolutely love it. Let me say this. As much joy, and we're going to read some of the messages in the chat room, man. I thought about it coming back from the break. We already went through an hour of the show just that quick. This is truly the funnest show on turf. It is. Let me say this, though. Let me say this. Let me say this. I guess in somewhat of Carmelo's defense. Carmelo is choosing to stay in New York. He holds all the cards on whether he gets traded or not. Like, they can't make a move unless Carmelo okays it. We understand that about his contract. More so than any other contract in the NBA. But I got to stay consistent, man. I understand where Carmelo's coming from. I'm a person, I'm on record. I question these big-time players in the NBA leaving to team up with other superstars. I do that. Carmelo staying in New York, wanting to help turn things around, and that's all he's ever said, to me, is quite refreshing. It's kind of noble, if you ask me. Now, let me say this. But let me also say this as well. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Let me also say this as well. I think it's commendable because I'm the guy that always rails against LeBron going to play with the Miami Heat and teaming up with Dwayne Wade and, Kevin Durant going to play with all those guys out there in Golden State. I don't like that. I don't like that they try to build these super teams. They build all these alliances or whatever, and they buddy whatever. I don't think that the players back in the day, they did it in this manner, and I don't like it today. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. That being said, one caveat to the whole, going to team up with other great players and other dynamic players in the NBA, and I talked about this with LeBron. One caveat to it, and the difference between what LeBron did in going to Miami and what a lot of people will point to some of the legendary players doing supposedly the same thing, is that was done back in the day, but it was done by older players at the end of their career. It wasn't done by players in the prime of their career where they had several years left. It wasn't done by players as free agents leaving the team that the organization was trying to build around them. And no, it's different. Barkley was at the end of his career. And I'm not a Chuck fan. I'm not a Barkley fan. Y'all know that. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. When Barkley did that was at the end of his career. It's almost kind of like it's accepted. It's accepted that, at the end of your career, you're more free. And fans will give you more of a pass to chase a ring. Carmelo is kind of in that category. He is. Carmelo's at the end of his career. So, in my opinion, if Carmelo were to say, yeah, get me out of here, let me go play with LeBron, or let me go play with team A, B, C, or D, or whatever, with great players already on it, I technically wouldn't be that mad. I wouldn't put him in the same category that I put LeBron in when he went to Miami, or what I put Kevin Durant in when he went to Golden State. These guys are at the prime of their careers. Carmelo, he's pretty much coming to the end of the rope. He is. So either way, I think that it's commendable that he wants to stay here. This is what he says. I think it's commendable that he wants to stay in New York. He likes New York. He likes the fans. He likes the people. And he's not scared of a challenge. And it's a big-ass challenge in New York. And then also I would understand if he went to play with another team because he is pretty much getting in at the end of his career. What are your thoughts?